Good morning. I'm meteorologist Shane Hinton with your October 8th morning tropical update. As of the 7 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Milton is a Category 4 hurricane. This is after becoming a Category 5 yesterday and ranking as one of the top 5 strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic Basin of all time, or at least on record. The pressure of this system has gone up a bit, which means it's weakened slightly, but I mean still a Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds at 145 miles per hour. Southern portion of Milton right now impacting the Yucatan Peninsula, but did not officially make landfall there. We have to let the eye cross over land for that to officially occur. So landfall is still expected for Florida Wednesday night. I do want to point out the latest cone from the National Hurricane Center does show that Milton could intensify, possibly back up to a Category 5 hurricane later today as it continues to trek towards Florida. Now you'll notice whenever it's making landfall here late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, the cone gets fairly wide. That means there is still quite a bit of uncertainty on where exact landfall will be. However, the forecast cone does not show you impacts. The impact of this system is going to be much wider than what the cone is currently showing. The cone is just here to really show intensity of the system in regard to its category, and then also where the center of it could go. We could still have the center trek a little bit to the north. We could still see it go a little bit to the south. Some of the more recent forecast models this morning appear to be showing a little bit further to the south. This system will continue to cross central Florida and then come out on the other side, maybe still as a Category 1 hurricane, which is still pretty impressive when we're talking about tropical systems that can hold on to a hurricane status after going over land. This is by Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock that it could be a Category 1 on the other side of Florida as a Category 1 and then pushing out toward the Atlantic throughout the back half of the work week and into the weekend. Take a look at the spaghetti forecast models just to show you the recent trends. I'm seeing now a cluster of them going a little bit further south of Tampa, which would be good news for the Tampa Bay area, but not good news, obviously, for areas south of that, including the Fort Myers area. Now, we do have a series of tropical alerts across almost all of the state of Florida. In fact, you have hurricane warnings that you see here in the hot pink. That's including not only the West Coast, but also on the East Coast, including the Daytona Beach area, also Central Florida. Tropical storm warnings in red. That does extend for Southern Florida, including also Miami-Dade County. If we zoom out even further, you'll notice the areas in blue. Well, that would be a tropical storm watch, which actually does include parts of the South Carolina coastline and the entire Georgia coastline. The only areas in Florida not under a tropical alert at all are the panhandle areas of Florida. Now, in regard to impacts, what are we expecting for Florida specifically? Well, this is going to be a storm surge event, a wind event, and a rain event for them. So kind of hitting all three, unfortunately. You can see we're still staying out dry here in Texas as the area of high pressure keeps us safe and quiet. Let me zoom in here locally and show you the rainfall projections. This is over the next 7 days, but it is worth noting. I mean, this is showing anywhere from 7 to over 10 inches of rain. Some rainfall projections have shown as high, I think earlier this morning I was seeing 15 inches of rainfall. So we're expecting flooding from rainfall, but also the storm surge associated with it. Now, the highest projections right now are currently for the Tampa Bay area with storm surge up to 15 feet. For those of you who are tracking Helene with us, you probably recall that the storm surge was about half of that. So this would be catastrophic storm surge for the Tampa Bay area if, once again, the models were to trend a little bit further to the south and the trek of it goes a little bit further to the south. That would help the storm surge projections for the Tampa Bay area, but we will just have to see what the models kind of start to churn out over the next few days. In regard to wind, hurricane force winds are expected for the areas that were under the hurricane warning. Now, Milton is not the only system we are tracking. If you head out further in the eastern Atlantic, we have Tropical Storm Leslie. Yes, we're still talking about Leslie. It's going to continue moving out to the northwest and then eventually pivot back out into the Atlantic, posing no threat to the United States. To the east of Leslie, we have this tropical wave off the west coast of Florida, only a 20% chance of development over the next week. We will keep our eyes on it for you. And then as you head off, just off the coast of Florida, on the eastern side, we have this area of tropical moisture with a 20% chance of development over the next 48 hours and the next week. Now, it is worth highlighting that the area is just off the southeast coastline of Florida. However, the potential development would be out toward the east. As of now, we are not concerned with this impacting the United States, but we will keep our eyes on it for you. If either of those two areas of potential development become a named system, well, we move on to the N name on the list, which is Nadine. We will continue to track the tropics for you here in the KVUE Weather Center and provide those updates on air and online.